in for the biggest treat today. We are welcoming our very first guest to the podcast, and she is going to blow you away. Susie Moore is a world-renowned life coach, author, and host of the top-rated Apple podcast, Let It Be Easy. She's a sought-after media expert for media outlets and has been featured on The Today Show, Good Morning America, Dr. Oz, Business Insider, Forbes, Oprah, The Wall Street Journal, Cosmopolitan, and Marie Claire. In addition, she's the resident life coach for Greatest, the world's leading health and wellness site for millennials, and the author of Let It Be Easy and Stop Checking Your Likes. Her book, Let It Be Easy, changed my life, as have her business programs. And I'm so excited to have her on the podcast. Susie, welcome!
Corinne, could this be any more high vibe? Look at you and pink, me in yellow, jamming about things we love. What a joy. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be your first guest.
Well, I am so excited. And I just need to love on you for a little bit. You were one of my very first mentors when I first launched my business. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with you in real life. Oh my gosh, I could get teary-eyed. You are the real deal. You've taught me so much about business and life. And you are the opposite of a gatekeeper. You're so open with all of your, not just business tips and tricks, but your connections, but also your life connections. And you know this, but I had your Let It Be Easy mantra plastered on my computer, and it really transformed how I run my business. So while we've worked together in a business context, you are also one of the OG life coaches. And that's what I really want everyone to get a taste of today, how impactful your life philosophy and life coaching are, all the little magical nuggets that you share in your own podcast. So let's start with just a little bit of your backstory. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, whenever this question comes up, there are so many directions we can go in. And I think it's important to share with people that if you've been able to build a life that you're proud of, or you've allowed some of your dreams to come true so far because they're always still unfolding, it's really interesting to understand maybe what could have helped fuel you or what along the way you've learned that's helped. And in my life, I had the gift of an early challenge, having a very unusual family, a lot of dysfunction, moving around a lot, growing up on welfare, having an addicted father. And the environment that I grew up in, I probably wouldn't have chosen, Corinne.
Yeah.
But now I look back and I realize how self-reliant I had to be. And it wasn't something that I, of course, was conscious of at the time, or something I would, it wouldn't be something that I would repeat or wish for somebody. But in life, we really are powerful. And I think that we can be attached to the past. We can think that it means a lot. We can find excuses for why we don't get what we want, or we can just completely flip it. We can look at what's possible and find mentors no matter what, and be responsible for the present moment, which is where all of our power is. So my background's an interesting one. And, you know, the first thing I did when I was 18 was move to Australia for a gap year, got married, age 19, do it, friends. And I skipped college. I wasn't even in a position to go. I started working when I was young, and that was also a huge blessing. I felt like it gave me a head start in life. Got my first property when I was 25. I was able to, work in the tech industry. And so, you know what? Never doesn't matter where you start. You just have to realize your power, and that every day is a fresh opportunity to seize it.
Yeah, I love that. And you are such an example of positivity, not necessarily because your circumstances are positive, right? But just bringing that positive attitude, and then you create the circumstances.
Yes.
So I believe that we all have different entrance points into the good life. And I talk about the power of being organized as a fast track to accessing joy. And you talk about this concept of let it be easy.
Yes.
So I'd love if you could share with everyone how you discovered this concept and how anyone can leverage that in their day-to-day life.
I would say, in a nutshell, that let it be easy came from me being sick of myself
Mm, yes,
and being sick of my nonsense.
yes,
Because I always thought to myself, if I am, if I have a good job, if I'm in a healthy, marriage, if I have money in the bank, if I'm healthy, then I'm going to be just good, right? I'm going to be chill. I'm going to be just proud of myself. I'm going to be, full of beans. And I realized in my 20s when my husband wanted to leave me because I was so difficult, I was so controlling, and I wanted to be in charge of everything. I realized even though I've achieved a lot of the things that were on my list, I still don't feel good. There's still a lot for me to do here. And I really had to look at myself, understand why I was causing so much stress to myself. I had this allegiance to my own suffering. Anyone who has stress, anxiety in their lives, low moods, it's not, we don't always think that we can even get out of it. We think, oh, well, this is just life and isn't fair and life is suffering. I don't believe that. I know the core purpose of our life is to enjoy it. So I had to really look at the stress and suffering I was putting on myself voluntarily in lavish amounts. And I see people do this all the time, Corinne, people who have every reason to feel good and happy and content, causing problems in their marriage, causing problems with their friends, unhappy with their looks, unhappy. And we don't have to. There can be another way. We can, if we don't resist, if we can be in a place of acceptance and curiosity, and also, frankly, a bit more lightheartedness.
yes.
When did everything become so deep and serious? I don't know, but that was a chapter I didn't get in the book of life. Why is everything so, oh my, it's so dangerous. I think that this way we regret proof our lives.
Oh,
And
I love that.
it's a horrible
Yeah,
thing to look back and to go, gosh, I wish had a good life. I wish I realized it sooner.
right. I wish I had more fun. We talk about that a
Yes.
lot on this podcast. Yeah. I don't
Yes.
think I've ever heard you or anyone talk about an allegiance to our own suffering. But
Oh,
isn't that
yeah.
so powerful when we think about how we are keeping ourselves stuck?
Yes. And if you think about it, just say you live in a house and you're really used to it and you're like, this is my house, it's kind of shitty. It's breaking down, or maybe it's not safe in that room anymore. There's a hole in the ceiling, whatever it is. You'll stay there because it's your home and
Yeah.
it's familiar. And you'll be like, well, my identity is this home. And so many things happened in this home. And that's kind of how our mind is. We're like, well, this is just how I feel. And this is what I'm used to. We don't like change. It feels scary, but you don't have to live. You don't have to live anywhere anymore. We get to decide. I think that this is the biggest truth that's never told. We get to decide how we feel. We
Yeah.
get to decide how our day goes. We get to decide if we're confident or not. These are all up to us. But most people just relinquish their power immediately. They give it to someone else. Their mom still has it. Their husband has it. Their wife has it. And then we wonder why we're like, why we don't feel satisfied and why we envy people who are going for it.
It's so true. What
Mhm.
this looks like in our business now, since I've been in your world, is when
Mhm.
we're getting ourselves all worked up, my team and I, often in Boxer, someone will ask, how can we let it be easy? And it like
Mm.
immediately snaps us out of that spiral. And we're like, how could this be easy? How could this be fun? We have your voice in the back of our
Mm.
head. And it does really flip that lens for you to be like, okay, our allegiance to our suffering is making this complicated. How can we make it easier? And there's
Yeah.
always a way. There's
I'll
always a
say
way.
there is, and Corinne, I'll say too, that most common in high achieving women is this overcomplication of things.
Yes.
One of my favorite things is even just to maybe offer a different idea or a thought,
Mhm.
and you can just see the relief in somebody. Is that allowed? Oh my gosh, is it allowed to be easy? Am I allowed to enjoy this? Am I allowed to actually have a break now, or am I allowed to take this creative idea and just go with it right now and just not take it so seriously? I mean, come on, isn't that the way to live?
It's so true. Yeah. We hereby grant you the permission to have fun and let it be easy. So
Mhm,
speaking of your thoughts, I,
mhm,
I mentioned this to you behind the scenes a few
mhm,
weeks ago. I heard you say something on your podcast that I thought
mm,
was so powerful.
mhm,
I heard you say you can't always choose your first thought, but you
mhm,
can always choose your second thought. And the
mhm,
reason this is so powerful is because with so much inundation of self-help language
mhm,
and talking about self-improvement, I myself even fell under this trap of like, why am I still having some bad first thoughts? And
Yes.
then I feel like you gave me permission to say, okay, I can still have that first thought. Maybe I'm never going to evolve beyond that for my first thought, but I can
Mm.
always choose my next thought. So talk to us
Mhm.
about that.
Oh, this is like a magic trick. This is, I think, probably this is like the secret of the universe, I swear to God. It's like, so anyone can have a thought, right? You can wake up and go, oh, I look old, right? Or you can even go you can even have a chat with someone at an event or whatever, and you might think that person's really annoying. That might be the first thought that you have. Or this person wants to compete with me. Or you might have a thought that, oh, the rain's out, so it's going to be like a shit day. Well, we don't even know where our thoughts come from. What the average person has 90,000, I think, in a day, and 95% are repetitive, right? So look, it's just a lot of the same stuff. But if I have a thought that brings me any negative charge in my body, this is your body has this incredible real-time feedback loop telling you what you're thinking. I always think correct thoughts, I feel good. Not even good thoughts, just correct thoughts, I feel good. Incorrect or lies make me feel bad.
Yeah.
And so I'll have a feeling of maybe a pang of envy, or I'll have a sinking feeling if I think something bad is coming, something foreboding is, are we going to have an accident today if we've got this drive in the snow, like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
That thought can come. My immediate corresponding emotion tells me redirect. The same way that if you if you knock something or something sharp, you don't do it again. You don't push in anymore. You just go, get out of there, sister. It's like, so if I have a thought that makes me feel worried or sad or scared, I go, okay, thank you. What's true here? Because there's something incorrect. So if I wake up and go, ooh, I'll go, I'm actually the hottest person I know. I'm pretty gorgeous. I'm pretty damn gorgeous. Or if I think someone's annoying, I'm going to go, you know what? Everyone has something to teach me, everybody. And you know what? I've learned that I don't always give people the benefit of the doubt. Here's a fun opportunity,
Love.
or if
Yeah.
there's a snowy drive and I'm like, okay, we'll go extra slow, extra time for a playlist. There's no rush.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
that's how powerful we are. But I think that because it requires a little bit of consciousness and it requires some practice, we
Yeah.
think that it's just some lucky people have got those brains
Yes.
that, they just always focus on the positive, must be nice. It's like, no, Corinne, I'll get so depressed if I don't do my self-help work and if I don't do my thought work. I
Right.
can get there
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
I,
I
and
can
I,
too. Yeah.
yeah, but
For
I
me, it's
won't.
more anxiety. Like I can just
Mm-hmm.
get myself so worked up. And this idea that we can choose our second thought gives us the power back.
Yes.
So that all of this work we're doing, it is working. When we
Mm-hmm.
keep that consciousness of recognizing the first thought and saying, I'm not going down that road. Let me
Mm-hmm.
choose the next one.
Yeah, and it hurts. Those thoughts don't feel good. And so
Right.
that isn't that our bodies are so intelligent. They're telling us redirect, redirect. It's telling you don't feel. So if I feel tight, anxious, any of those emotions that we would deem negative, and there's no real evidence for something, because of
Yep.
course there's grief,
Right.
life. But generally speaking, we'll take that thought and then there'll be another, then another. And then we wonder why by 9 a.m. we're waiting until it's, time for Netflix and beer at the end of the day because we just got to get through it and life sucks. So yeah.
True. Yeah. I love
Second thoughts. Yeah. Who
second
cares about the
thought.
first?
We can do
Yeah.
it. We can all do that. That is
Yep.
something we can all do. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk in a couple minutes about everything that you do, how you spend
Yeah.
your time. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to sort of enter that conversation by sort of setting the context that you have a big life. You
Mm.
are very visible, right? I just
Mm-hmm.
read off all the
Yeah.
places that you are, and
Yes.
you are a prominent expert and you do a lot of fun things. And
Mm-hmm.
yet, and
Mm-hmm.
I have met you in person, so I can see it, you
Mm-hmm.
have this inner calm and what feels like a real mastery of downtime and
Mm.
not getting caught up in just sort of the chaos that could come with all of that. So talk to us
Mm.
about how you have achieved that or how you stay anchored into that sort of centeredness.
So it's interesting, Corinne, isn't it? Because I know what you mean by the chaos, and not everyone, but a lot of people are living in it.
Mhm.
But it's just their thoughts, right? It's
Mhm.
it's an
Yeah,
unmanaged mind, and an unmanaged mind is like it's worse than a wild animal. Like it's more dangerous, in my opinion. It can have you believe that you're behind and you suck, and you got to be there, and you got to be there too, and you also have to be over there, and you better be perfect at all of the things.
yep.
And oh, you dropped the ball, and that thing you did 8 years ago, shame on you. I mean,
So true. All of
I'm not.
it.
I. It's like I'm not playing that game, and so
Mm.
who could be calm with any of that nonsense? I love myself. I forgive myself. I approve of myself. I also don't think I have to be perfect. Not my job. Like someone else can have it if they want it. Have fun.
I love it.
You
Yes.
won't. But
No, no, that's so interesting. That's so fun.
but it's just. I mean, I don't think that. I don't put pressure on myself to be perfect. I don't think I owe anything to anyone either.
Mhm.
I think that that's a big cause of stress, thinking that we have to be this for that person and, we have to show up here. And I don't know. I think that downtime is just a matter of putting your needs first,
Mm.
which allows you to frankly be your best. I think that when you put yourself first and you have really great boundaries, you're most generous because
So interesting.
you have so much to offer. And
Yeah.
also, I think in general, because most people feel that they prove their worthiness through being busy, if you don't think that, if you know that you're worthy no
Yep.
matter what and it's fixed, then you realize that hard work and success aren't related.
Mm.
If
Mhm.
they were, a lot of hardworking people would have a lot more to show for everything that they do.
True.
And so I know that one 15-minute conversation could be more important than 3 weeks working on a
Yeah.
project. But hey, if I'm busy working on a project, everyone's going to think that I'm cool and hardworking and just like them. And yeah, it's a hustle and I can commiserate. No, I'm just not interested in doing that. And I only say yes to things that I want to.
Oh my gosh, it's such higher level thinking. And I want to delve even a little bit deeper because, in
Mm-hmm,
some ways, it's paradoxical to what many of us would think that
mm-hmm,
people, I think a lot of people are generous because they
mm-hmm,
feel like they either owe owe things to people or because they need to prove their worth. And I said at the
mm,
outset of this, you truly are one of the most generous people I know
mm.
in terms of your context and your knowledge and your time. And yet it comes from such a different place. It
Yes,
comes
because yeah, I'm not tired. You know, I've
from
got loads of energy. I've got loads of contacts. And that being an example, I suppose. And because I feel good, I want to do good things, but not because I'm depleted or because I feel like I owe anybody or because, I keep a tally. It's just, hey, I feel good and let's spread it.
I love it. So for anyone who's listening thinking, well, if I put myself first, I would then become selfish and wouldn't do all the good things that I do. This is the
Uh,
exact opposite. When you put
hmm
yourself first, you
hmm
fill your own cup, you have
hmm
more energy, and then
hmm
you're actually more generous, but it's coming from an even better place than from this place of feeling like proving your worth or owing. It's actually coming from overflow as opposed to
hmm
coming from lack.
Yes. And it also, dare I say, Corinne, I think it's living in integrity
Mm,
because we can be like, oh, well, I did that for my friend. I did that for my mother-in-law and I did that and I did that too. And, yeah, I'm doing all the things. And like, we like to talk about it when we're doing all the things, and just to
we do.
recap. Yeah. It's like, well, and then I made a lasagna as well. And it's like, there's no medal for any of these things,
No.
and people
So true.
actually, even if they don't tell you, they do really want the real you. Like
Yes.
if someone says to me, I know we've had this lunch planned for a month. I'm really tired. Like I'm really tired or whatever, something's happening. I'm happy that's honest. And I
Yes.
go, great, we have an honest relationship. And it's
Exactly.
not, oh, something came up with the kids. And by the way, if that's true, great. But if someone's like, do you know, I'm really tired. I'm so tired. I could really use just a day to myself. I go, take it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And I'm like, I'll do the same. But that way, even if I have, say, disappointing news and someone might be scared to deliver disappointing news, it's very honest. It's So I might have a pang of disappointment. I'll live. Give me that dignity to feel my disappointment. And then we have an honest, and then if I'm tired or I just feel like, well, I can tell Corinne how I feel because she does with me. And it actually creates this nice, cycle. I think of other people living in integrity too, but by telling the truth. This is
Right.
why I'm not going. This
Yeah.
is why I'm canceling, not because of some elaborate thing and 7 reasons. It's like, I'm done.
I
That's,
love that.
yeah.
Again, giving permission to just be honest. And I think what you said that's so important is the person hearing that might be disappointed, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That we can live with other people being temporarily disappointed in us, but
Mm-hmm.
the authentic connection will overshadow that disappointment.
Yes. And, a friend of mine recently, her son lost this race in school and he was really disappointed. She told me, and I said, it's okay for him to experience disappointment.
Yeah.
He will for the rest of his life.
Right.
Everybody does. And when you want to fix it with an ice cream or, then we say that those feelings aren't allowed. And I don't know. I can handle it. A kid can handle it. We all will. So I don't need to save anybody from their emotions. I can
Mm.
just be me and they can be them. And we play with who we play with and we don't play with who we don't play with. And that's perfect.
That's so true. We could all, not just our children, but ourselves as adults too,
Mm-hmm.
do well with being able to better handle disappointment and any of our negative emotions rather than trying to mitigate every single one that comes up. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Oh yes. And I think so too. If I'm like, I'm really disappointed, it tends to move through pretty quickly.
yeah. Yeah, if we just let ourselves feel it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So give everybody a little peek of the day in the life of Susie Moore and all the amazing things that you do and where you spend your time.
Well, I would say that so it's my husband and I, right? We don't have kids. For us, that's like it's wonderful. We love our lives here in Miami. I always take my mornings for myself. I always consume self-help, Corinne. Like in the mornings, always. I don't know what other people are doing, but I couldn't get through my day. If I even have a couple of days off on vacation or something out of my routine, I start to feel different.
Okay.
So it's a conscious thing. You just,
Yep.
you manage your mind, right? Manage your mind.
Yep. So what
Everything
does
is
that
easy.
specifically look like for you? Reading, meditating?
Reading largely. Any self-help book. I have so many, mainly on my iPad, or listening to like a YouTube video for maybe 10 or 15 minutes from someone who I love speaking on a cool topic. Maybe a podcast too, because there are all the formats, but there has to be like at least 15 minutes of something.
Okay.
That's it. And then I tend to do my creative work in the morning, anything that I'm working on that's coming from me. I have my break, I chill. And then sometimes in the afternoons, I do stuff like this.
That's
Good.
amazing. And share with everyone more specifically a little bit about the programs that you run. And, you obviously have
Oh,
your podcast, you have your life coaching program. I'd love for people to just hear all of the impact that you're making on the world through your various programs.
yes. Well, working as a life coach, in my opinion, I think it's the highest work. Besides actually physically saving lives, helping people manage their mind.
Mhm.
Oof, like it also has an impact on your health. It impacts everything. And so I have a life coaching membership called Self Coaching Society. It's my favorite thing. If you want to check it out, just go to becomeyourownlifecoach.com for like a free quick class on that. But I
And we'll
work
drop the link to that and all the places you can find Susie in the show notes. So if you didn't catch what she just said, it will all be there for you.
Thank you. And then I also help people who have businesses of any size or who want to elevate their voice or share a message. I help them land the right media. And the reason I do that was kind of by accident. As a life coach, I just wanted one-on-one clients so I could quit my corporate career. And I used the media very naively to begin with, making a lot of mistakes, but getting out there still imperfectly. I used my media to grow my email list, which allowed, oh my gosh, it brought me so many blessings. I initially, like I said, just wanted clients, but so much else happened as a result. So many opportunities came my way. And and immediately people started asking me, how are you getting all this, your name here and your message there? And I didn't realize it was a hard thing to do. I thought that I
That's
thought,
funny.
you know,
Yep,
this is available. Why isn't everybody doing it? And then people were asking me, so I now teach it by demand.
yep.
And I think increasingly, I just read that from new 2024 data that Instagram has 7% reach. And meaning if you've got
Wow.
100 followers, 7 people, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Engagement's way worse. It just sucks. And so I think, you know, again, working on the right thing is more important than working hard.
Mm,
And so when I create my media content, which I do still all the time, right? I'm working on a piece right now. It brings so much to me and it's so much fun and it's of such high service because, you know, you put out a media feature, sometimes millions of people can see it. And so why wouldn't you go big with your impact? It just seems obvious to me. So I share my message and I show other people how to do it in a way that they'll succeed, in a way that they'll get actual real returns from it too. Because there are a few things you want to know about it behind the scenes. So I also teach that, which is wildly fun. And oh my, it keeps getting more and more interesting.
yeah, and I have learned all of that from you. And it is so interesting to see, even though you fell into it without strategy,
hmm
now you've created the strategy around it so then other
hmm
people can replicate it. And it's
Yes.
not so complicated once you know the pieces, but you have to be consistent with it.
Yes.
And
Yes. And yes.
go ahead.
And you just want to follow some very, very, some steps because, uh, you know, again, I would say the most high achieving people overcomplicate this stuff.
Yep.
And they
Yep.
say too much and they research too much and it can be a real let it be easy
Yeah.
growth
So a
strategy.
couple things that I want to pull out from what you just said. First of all, just so everyone knows, Susie has a massive following on Instagram, but you're not really on it that much. You can
No.
tell that it's not your life, that you do not put too much time and attention into it, and yet your businesses continue to grow and thrive. So I think
Yes.
that's really interesting.
I think that's a relief for people to
Yeah.
know because Instagram isn't how I make money. It's for me. I think like it's for me almost. Me and my pictures and clips that I like. But no one's even helping me with it. No.
It's and speaking of not helping, the other thing that I think is so interesting is given your business revenue and success, you could
Mhm,
easily hire someone to write all of your
mhm.
articles for you in a heartbeat, and you
Oh,
write all of it and you love it. So can you
yeah.
talk a little bit? I mean, I know you've spoken about it somewhat, but just bringing that love and joy to what you do and doing things that you love and bring you joy.
Oh, it's such a hack to do things that you want to do. You know,
Yes.
it's because, you know, success in life, there's always going to be repetition and boring elements,
Yep.
right? Behind the scenes stuff, team stuff, tech stuff, all the moving parts. But if there are things that you do that bring results that are fun for you, gosh, it's so energizing. And you've got, and when you know you're working on something that's going to impact people and is going to make you money, oh, you could just keep, no wonder you would just keep going. You don't
Right.
even need motivation. You're just like, well, this is worth it. This is worth it. It feels good. So, I mean, I like to, I really love to hear someone's voice, even if they're
Mhm.
dry, if they're funny, if they're controversial, whatever someone's voice is. This is why it's tricky if someone else writes someone's book, for example. And look, I know people do that and that's cool. But I think that the people we really love, it's almost like a singer, like, you know, when it's Taylor Swift, right?
Yes.
You know, I love Kylie Minogue. I know when I can hear her voice, you know, I'm like, oh, I know it's her. And so I wouldn't want to outsource something so critical that is an entry point to learning about me. You
Mhm.
know, if I'm talking about, you know, confidence lessons or lessons from whatever, growing up the way I did, or divorce, or I don't want it to be in the voice of Alison, who's an amazing copywriter, even though that's perfect for someone else. That part has to be me, and have help with all the things you need.
Right.
But I'm also not a literary genie. You know, I'm not Ernest Hemingway. And I don't have to be. But I
Yep.
can just be me, and I'm very relaxed in how I write, and I just use Grammarly for checks and then submit. Sometimes I think that we imagine that there's a teacher with a red pen and, you know, we've got all these trauma memories from school. It's like, we want to hear from a person as they are. That's it.
Yeah.
We love a real person,
I
and
love
we
that.
don't need dramatic stories. We don't need all this novelty. We don't need all this alliteration. We just want to connect with another human being who maybe knows something about something that could be useful or helpful or informative or entertaining. That's it.
So such good, such powerful words. And when you said, we want to hear someone's voice, it's also the energy behind it, right? So it's like when I'm reading
Yes.
something you've written, I can
Yeah.
hear you saying it in your beautiful accent, but then
Mhm.
also feel the energy
Mhm.
behind it. And I do think there really is something to that.
Yeah, and especially if you care about longevity. I mean, I think we've all seen, even in a few short years, a lot of people come and go,
Yep.
right? A lot of in any industry, people come and go, and they can have great success. But it's almost like a bright light; it just burns out really quickly. And I think that sometimes we forget what made us good in the first place. We forget, even as a life coach, when I'd go to like a barbecue, I would just like tell some stories or whatever. And that's how people would go, um, oh, maybe you could help me with that. Or wait, you just moved country, or I'm like, yeah. So me just being myself attracted the right people to me. So I don't want someone else to try and be myself for
Yep.
me.
Right.
I'll manage that part, and then everyone can help me with everything else.
Oh, I love it. I love it all. So let me ask you maybe a tough question.
Mhm.
What is the next big goal you have for yourself that maybe feels like a scary goal, either for yourself or for your business?
Well, I will admit, for probably 1 year, I've been thinking about my next book, and I'm still not very happy, or I don't feel I've landed on the message yet. But I also feel like that's me telling myself some nonsense. I just need to get going, and the clarity will come, which is how it always comes along. It's
Right.
not through thinking. So I think that I've been procrastinating on something because I feel like it's important. And so it's easier to say I can't land on an idea than actually just do it. But that's when I wrote out my mid-year review goals recently, it's to make some really great strides, I think, with my book number 4.
I love it. So
Yeah.
everyone catch that she was coaching herself in real time about the blocks on her book. So we'll be
Yes.
looking out for it. And how
Um,
do you find the book writing process once you get in it? Does it feel hard for you, or does it feel like that juicy goodness?
I think it feels easy because I don't put any pressure on myself to be perfect nor original.
Love
Just
it.
myself. And of
Yeah.
course, I'm influenced by the 800 self-help books I've
Okay.
read, not an exaggeration. So of course, I'm going to be influenced by Byron Katie, influenced by Abraham Hicks, influenced by Neville Goddard. I mean, of course. And I just have to tell the
Yeah.
truth according to me, and the right people will find it. So I also don't put any pressure on myself to be on lists or to, uh, outsell someone who I made an enemy of 2 years. I don't even,
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's personal. And I think that I just have to love it. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for anyone who's listening who feels like maybe they don't have an original message, no one has said it the way you've said it before. And so it's going to
Mm-hmm.
land and resonate with people in a way that the message hasn't before. And so I think it's such a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful reminder.
It is. You know what? It's interesting. I interviewed at Cambridge University. That's in the UK. It's like the
Yep.
equivalent of the Ivy Leagues here. I interviewed there. I didn't get a spot, but one of the nuns who interviewed me, she said that the first book you read there is the Bible. If you study any type of language program, you read the Bible. And she said that all ideas are sourced from original old scriptures.
Oh,
So I remember
interesting.
thinking, oh my God, if everything is derived somehow of this or some older text, I'm like, what's everyone worrying about?
So true. I often think about that. Everything is derivative. And I think sometimes it can be very helpful to go back to the source. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you learn the message better from one
Mm-hmm.
of those derivations. It's just
Exactly.
the
Look
way
at
it is.
every Disney movie, right? Every
Right.
Disney movie is the same story. Person, struggle, happy ending. It's
Yep.
like that's every rom-com. Like it's every story. And so I think to myself, the way that you do it through your own lens, that's why your voice matters,
Yep.
and your message and the way that you say it, and also bringing your own experience into it. Because look, loads of people have been divorced. Loads of people have grown up with nothing. Loads of people have made $1 million in business, right? But not the way you have,
Yeah.
and not with your little quirks, and not with where you lived and what you thought, and the things that you laugh at now, going, oh my God, I used to believe that, you know. So, and that's what we want to see.
It's so true. Susie, for everyone who's listening thinking, wow, she's probably really fun to hang out with. I want you to know she is. She actually really is this fun to hang out with. Okay, before I let you go, because I know we could
Yes.
talk forever and ever and ever, I have a few
Yes.
rapid fire questions I want to ask you.
Oh,
Susie told me before she came on that she did not want to prep for this. She likes to be given the questions on the spot. So this is like truly off the cuff
oh my
answers to
gosh.
these questions. So
Mhm.
let's do it. A life-changing piece of advice you've gotten.
Oh my God. There's so many life-changing pieces. Only love is real.
Only love is real. Okay.
Mhm.
Something you tell your 21-year-old self.
I love you.
What makes you feel your smartest?
When I'm reading self-help books from the 50s and 60s and modernizing them.
Love
Mm.
that. What makes you feel your calmest?
I've got a couple ways I could go here, but I'll keep it PG. Oh,
You don't have to. No.
I like to be calm. I would say I'm pretty calm. I'm calm anytime I'm conscious of my thinking.
Conscious of your thinking. I love that.
Mhm.
Okay. And the last question, what makes you feel your sexiest?
Oh, looking in the mirror and appreciating myself.
Oh, I love it. So good. Thank you so much, Susie, for being our very first guest. I know everyone's going to love you. You are such a joy. So we're going to put all the places everyone can find you in the show notes. Anything else you want to say or share before I let you go?
Corinne, I hope you stick with this awesome podcast for many, many years. What a delightful host. Oh, God bless you. All the blessings to you.